Dear learners, a very good morning to all of you. And, it is going to be a good reproductive again as a student of sociology science. We are having a session which we are going to discuss on a very important topic, international organization implementing SDG Vision 2030, which is one of the important SDGs, that is SDG Goal 17, which reflect upon the needs for coordination, collaboration, and so on. Right. So I don't think so. We need another introduction of our today's speaker, expert Dr. Ranjeet Kaur, because he has taken 2-3 classes in this batch. With this, hand over to Ranjeet. I welcome you again and thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sharath. First of all, very good morning to Dr. Sharath and all the participants or the students of PGDSS course. So I welcome you all for today's interaction. So let us start up with today's interaction. The topic of today's interaction is role of international organizations in implementing SDG Vision 2030. With the background note, the UN General Assembly in September 2015 adopted the Global Development Vision, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It was designed as a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It lays out 17 SDGs and 169 targets to stimulate global action over the next 15 years on the critical issues to humanity and planet. It emphasizes and recognizes at the same time that poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and also which addresses the social needs, which include the education, health, social protection, job opportunities, and also it must tackle and take care about the climate change and the environmental problems. So the 193 countries of UN General Assembly, they adopted these SDG goals to end the poverty, protect the planet, and ensure the prosperity for all. But they can only be realized and implemented with a strong global partnership and cooperation at the global, regional, national, and local should be built upon the principles and values. So now in the nutshell, I'll brief about the history of these SDG goals and why it is important, why it is relevant for us. The 20th century, in this 20th century, the global economy, industries, and the GDP per capita are growing rapidly. But what is happening is, unfortunately, this growth, it is coming to a greater expense. Expense is what? The planet resources and the very existence of many species are being threatened. In 1972, many MIT scientists predicted an imminent global collapse will occur until we change our way of living. So with this background, it was important to have a development which was sustainable in nature and which could balance the future economic, social, environmental issues. So on this base, the 17 SDGs were arrived through the collective deliberation of 193 UN member countries in 2015. So there are 17 SDG goals. While some of these goals aim at building a prosperous society through a strong industry and infrastructure, that is the goal number 7 and 8, affordable and clean energy and decent work and economic growth. They emphasize on building the prosperous society through a strong industry and infrastructure. While Others make it mandatory to pursue the goal through removing poverty and hunger, which include the goal number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. Then there is a goal, that is goal number 16. It nudges to create a strong institutions for justice and peace. While some other specific goals are also there, which emphasize to protect the environmental health of the planet, that is goal number 12, 13, 14, and 15. Finally, there is a goal number 17, that encourages the partnership and collaboration with internal and external stakeholders. So this is the brief about the SDG goals. Now we go on to the contribution of UN system to the sustainable development. So briefly we'll go through the all the conferences which were held from 1972. Firstly, the United Nations Conference on Human Environment was held at Stockholm in 1972. The outcome of this conference was that UNEP, that is United Nations Environmental Program, was formed. It focused the attention, this program, it focused the attention towards the international environmental issues at that time, which were prevalent at that time. And then in 1983, the World Commission on Environment and Development was set up by UN General Assembly. And 23 commissioners from 21 different countries participated in that, were included. It consisted of 23 commissioners from 21 different countries. The National Conference of Environment and Development took place in Rio in 1992 after 1983 World Commission on Environment and Development. So this conference was set up to consider the development issues along with the environmental concerns. The major contribution was preparation and adoption of Agenda 21, which covers over 100 program areas for action to promote global sustainable. Somebody is saying something. Then the UN Commission on Sustainable Development just after Rio took place. It took place to assure the follow procedure to Rio 1992, also to oversee the implementation of national and international agreements. And then the World Summit on Sustainable Development, that is also known as the Rio Plus 10, took place at Johannesburg from 26th August to 4th September 2002. It was held to assess the progress on implementation of results of Rio Summit Agenda 21. Then comes the Kyoto Protocol, which is an international agreement to reduce the carbon dioxide emission and greenhouse gases emissions in the atmosphere. It was adopted in Japan 1997 and it entered into force on 16 Feb 2005. So next comes type of international organization. There are various international organizations which are associated with sustainable SDGs. So that may be categorized into four types basically. First one is the organization associated with environment and climate change. Then second type of organizations are which are associated with the promotion of livelihood and poverty alleviation in the backward region. And the third one are the organizations which are associated with international aid and financing for the countries in need of fund. And the fourth type of organizations are which are related to the international trade, export and imports, and transnational investments. Moreover, we may also know the UN system, which is to facilitate the international governance. It operates under 6 principal organs, that is General Assembly, Security Council, International Court of Justice, Economic and Social Council, Trusteeship Council, and Secretariat. So now one by one, or under all the four categories, we will know which organizations are working. So first, we will take the organizations working or involved in the environmental protection. That is, under them, there are United Nations Environmental Program (UNEP), the International Union for Conservation of Nature, World Wildlife Fund for Nature, United Nations Commission for Sustainable Development, Intra-Agency Committee on Sustainable Development, Food and Agriculture Organization, World Meteorological Organization, and International Atomic Energy Agency. In the second part, the organizations which are involved in poverty reduction, labor rights, human resource development, such as education and health, are UNDP, United Nations Development Program, International Labour Organization, then United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, then comes the World Health Organization. Then there are other organizations which are involved in facilitating the international finance, that are World Bank, International Monetary Fund. Others are the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development and World Trade Organization. There is one division for sustainable development goals in United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, which act as a secretariat for SDGs, and it also provides the substantive support and capacity building for the goals and their related thematic issues, which include water, energy, climate, ocean, and urbanization. So, after knowing the brief about the SDGs, what are the international organizations at various and the various classification of these organizations, now we come to the role of international organization in implementing the SDG Vision 2030 in Haryana. So these SDGs are also known as the global goals, or the universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure all people enjoy peace and prosperity. They are in fact the building blocks of sustainable future. So for meeting these targets of 2030, the Haryana government thought of the new approach. They didn't follow the business as usual approach. So the new approach was the establishment of the SDG Coordination Center at Panchkula, Haryana, in partnership with United Nations Development Program. That is an international organization of high repute and high experience. So the UNDP is helping Haryana to implement this Vision 2030. It helped in creating this Vision 2030 and implementing this Vision 2030. So on 6th August 2018, UNDP signed MOA with Government of Haryana to help to form them the SDG Goal Coordination Center with the Swan Jayanti Haryana Institute of Fiscal Management. It is placed there under the planning department. The role of this center is to implement the initiatives that help establish SDG in Haryana. So basically, this Sustainable Development Goals Coordination Center is the capacity building center. It also acts as a catalyst. It is a resource center. It is a knowledge center. And it is also kind of supporting all the departments, all the ministries of Government of Haryana to implement these SDGs. It is responsible for initiating action for convening the meetings of various departments, various groups related to SDGs issues as and when required. It is also responsible for capacity building at field level through field level, through conclaves at state level. It is responsible for creating awareness, sensitizing the people and the officers about the SDGs, also at the division level and district level, along with the state level. It is also finalizing, it is also helping the government to finalize the modalities for preparing the field level action plans. So what could be the field level action plans to achieve the SDGs? And later on, it is also helping for conducting goal-wise partnership with the corporate sector for capacity building and training of master trainers. And also, in the end, it is also helping the government to disseminate the best practices and success stories from Haryana. Now we come to the problems in Haryana. What are the problems regarding SDG? So first of all, the problems are to start with consumption inequality. Then there are the scheduled caste. They form nearly 20% of population, and their household do not have an access to improved sanitation facilities. And also the malnutrition rates for these groups is also very high. Female literacy rate is another issue. Then there is a large gap between male and female literacy rates. That is 20% point, one of the highest in the country. And the child sex ratio is also lowest in the country in Haryana. Then there are environmental challenges like stubble burning, which is happening every year, causing adding to the air pollution, and also the sinking water table is also one of the major environmental problem in Haryana. So, how this coordination center is focusing, how it is focusing. What are the focus areas? Now we'll try to see that, learn that. So there are basic 5 focus area of this SDG coordination center. First is resource mobilization and utilization need. To meet the need for human, financial, and physical resources, the tool which they are using is resource planning board. They are interacting with resource planning board and integrating planning models, various planning models from various other states. They are integrating that to mobilize the resources and utilization needs of the state. The output of this focus area will be 7-year strategic plan will be there, which will be based on the inputs of State Department to a workshop to develop sustainability in the state. Then there will be a 3-year action plan for each department based on the vision document and aligned to the, which will be also to aligned to the 7-year strategic plan for the state. Second is the capacity building, awareness generation, and partnership. So what is the need of this focus area? The need is to build the internal state capacity on SDGs and support public digital literacy. All the things these days are going digitally. So this is a very important and imperative thing to support the public for their digital literacy. Then awareness creation, high quality knowledge management, capacity building system, and partnership. So the tool for this focus area is strategy support group. Formation of strategy support group. Output will be new online certification tools, awareness workshops, public-private partnerships, and case studies. Discussion of the case studies. Third is change management and innovation. The need for this focus is to create new policies, change the old rules and laws, start administrative reforms, initiative new instruments, and adapt world-class best practices in Haryana. So tools which they're using, UNDP is using is policy review board plus innovation labs, which will be set in the various districts. So output will be incubation centers in the districts, master trainers will be there who will further train the people at the grassroots level. Then innovative pilot models will be there. Fourth one is SDG implementation in districts and villages. The need for this focus area is to develop the integrated sectoral initiatives. There is a need of every sector needs their own sectoral initiatives, which should be technology based. We should have a technology based platform, which could be single IT technology based platform, and which also at the same time should combine with the state resident database and also the direct benefit transfer mechanism, which could link the citizen services, which could link to the citizen service centers. The purpose for creating this direct benefit transfer mechanism is to create a mechanism which is transparent and also corruption free. Tool for this focus area is single synergized mega IT initiative. Output will be direct benefit transferred to the people on a real-time basis. The fifth and the last one is concurrent monitoring and data collection. So there is a need to ensure concurrent monitoring of targets and data feedback also. The tool will be the SDG website and online dashboards. Output will be a biannual SDG review report. So how UNDP is helping Haryana in implementation of SDGs. So we'll have a look upon the methodology and the process involved. To ensure overall development, the government of Haryana.
कौन?
Hello.
हाँ जी बोलिए. कार्ड देना था. रुकिए.
Kindly mute your mic. Anyways, so we'll be having a look upon the methodology and process which is being followed. So to ensure the overall development, the government of Haryana has been progressively moving forward with the implementation of over various schemes at various departments, which is targeting the vulnerable population. So in this case, in the case of process of implementation of the SDGs with Haryana, they begin with the landscape analysis of SDGs implemented in Haryana. The details of over 450 national and state schemes being implemented through Haryana were reviewed by UNDP, and their direct and indirect links with the SDG targets were plotted. Why they were plotted? They were plotted to check the alignments, also to identify the gaps and cross-sectoral linkages for better integrated planning. Then secondly, the briefing workshops on sustainable development goals were held. Various workshops were held. The purpose or the main objectives of organizing these briefing workshops were to establish commitment and generate support for SDG implementation throughout the government departments. Then to inculcate awareness on what the SDGs are and how they relate to localized context of Haryana. Then to create a common understanding on state government's approach towards implementing SDGs with the Vision 2030 document. And then offer technical expertise and support in taking this process forward through the UN agencies. Then there was one more step which was very important, that was the formation of interdepartmental working groups. That is on 21st July 2016. The government of Haryana constituted 7 interdepartmental working groups for the implementation of SDGs in Haryana and development of Vision 2030 document for Haryana. So the 7 SDGs were thematically clustered around these 7 working groups to lead the process of consultation and coordination with various administrative departments representing in each working group. Then various tools were developed to facilitate SDG based documentation and strategizing by working groups. they are organization for each group. Then there is Vision 2030 write-up, workbook is there. So these are all the tools. So then comes the provision of UN technical assistance to working groups through UN support team for Haryana. Each working group was provided with a list of UN agency experts who were available to provide the needed technical assistance and understanding on SDGs and targets. These experts attended various working group meetings, and they also provided the relevant knowledge or whatever the clarifications and guidance were required by those working groups. And the experts from various international organizations like WHO, UNDP, UN Women, ILO also made the presentation and participated in the discussions of the meetings on the working groups. And also they shared their technical notes with the working groups. They also reviewed the draft workbook prepared by them, these experts from international organizations. Then comes the individual working group meetings and review meetings for drafting the workbook and feedback. A total of 38 individual meetings and 26 group meetings, including the review meetings, were held. Then brainstorming sessions were held for creating the understanding of SDGs and for finalizing and charting out the vision for each SDG within Haryana. Then almost all working groups, 2 officers were identified who were responsible for writing the workbook and who are also responsible for the overall coordination within the group, with the UNDP resource person who was acting as a facilitator for organizing all these meetings. Then finally, for drafting the Vision Document 2030, with the review from government, the UN team accurately laid out the interventions of the government of Haryana and its plan toward the implementation of each SDGs. The information which were received from various government departments, the UNDP team, they analyzed it, they identified the gaps, and they prioritized the strategies. They were organized and placed in a better form to form the practical implementation plans. So now we can have a glimpse of the SDG working groups for Haryana. So basically 7 working groups have been formed, under which the SDGs, there are SDG thematic clusters. Then there are administrative departments which are involved for the thematic clusters. Then there is a chairman of a working group and a member secretary of a working group. So group number 1, it includes a thematic cluster of SDG 1 to 12. Department include development of panchayat, agriculture, health, food, revenue, urban local bodies, public health engineering, social justice, and medical education. Chairman of working group is ACS Development and Panchayat. Member secretary is Director cum Special Secretary Development and Panchayat. Likewise, for each group, there is a cluster of thematic. There's a SDG thematic cluster. There are administrative departments responsible for that group. There is a chairman who convenes the meeting, and there is there's a chairman under whom the meetings are convened, and member secretary of the working group convenes the meeting. Likewise, for all 7 groups, similarly, same pattern is followed. Group number 5, 6, and 7. So now finally we come to the 2 parts are there in the screen. 2 parts have been shown. There are the people action which are developed by UNDP, and there is a government focus what government is focusing and what should be the people's action. Uh, they have been synergized in a way. So, taking first of all the SDG goal number 1, no poverty. Focus for tomorrow from Haryana government side is to ensure the livelihood and income opportunities to all vulnerable people living in poverty in all its dimensions. Should provide the necessary health, education, housing, and basic services, and also enables social protection and risk mitigation. And what could be the people action? The UNDP has developed very simple and actionable points for people also. They can act. Government is doing a lot. The people can also act to get to fulfill the SDGs. SDG targets. The first SDG tip for people is buy local product. Take time to teach people about how to join an online school. Support small business. Then we come to the second SDG, that is zero hunger. From government side, for focus for tomorrow is eliminate malnutrition in children and women, provide access to safe nutrition and adequate food for all, increase agriculture productivity through development of factors of production, value chains, ensure sustainable food production, and maintaining and enhancing the agricultural ecosystem and genetic diversity. And what people can do in this goal, they can compose the waste what they produce, grow their own food, eat home cooked food, participate in food donation drives. Then SDG number 3, good health and well-being. Focus for tomorrow from government side, reducing infant mortality rate, reducing death due to non-communicable diseases, reducing the burden of communicable diseases. This is the focus of government. And from people side, tips for the people are practice yoga, use neem or camphor as a natural mosquito repellent, wash your hands often, have homemade kadha. Then for quality education, focus for tomorrow from government side, preschool education, quality educational linked with enhanced learning of outcomes, removing gender disparity in accessing school education, skill in education and employability after education. SDG tip for people is support girl child education, donate smartphone or device to a needy child, talk to your child about the impact of online schooling on their mental well-being. Then we come to goal number 5. So from government, they are focusing for tomorrow, like they need to improve economic empowerment of women, ensure a safe, secure, and positive environment for women inside and outside home, achieve uh, partiality in infant and child sex ratios. So SDG tips for people is reach out and help someone suffering from domestic abuse. Don't feel entitled to allow a woman to work. That is her choice. Normalize men feeling and expressing emotions. Pink is not a feminine color. Blue is not a masculine one. So goal number 6, from government side, safe and adequate drinking water for all, providing sewage system in all villages to achieve 100% coverage of urban areas with sewage system. SDG tips for people is don't throw band-aids into the drain, avoid drinking diet soda, take shorter showers, fix leaking taps, rinse your vegetables in a bowl rather running them into the tap. SDG number 7, focus on tomorrow from government side, universal access to modern energy system, increase in share of clean energy, increase in the rate of improvement of energy efficiency. SDG tip for people is use preheat oven, use insulated windows at home, press one lift button at time. So likewise, there are many focus on each SDG goals. So I'll just read about only the SDG tip for the people. The what government is doing, we can leave it right now. So for SDG goal number 8, what people can do from their side, what could be their action? That is refrain from bargaining with local farmers, Respect the waste workers, get clothes stitched from the local tailor rather than shopping from international brands. Then at goal number 9, SDG tip for people is buy ready to eat meals made by using high pressure processing technology, become digitally cooperative by learning how to use devices, follow all cyber security protocols to protect your digital data. Uh, Goal number 10, respect the elderly and make public spaces accessible to them. Treat transgenders humanely. Sustainable goal number 11, visit your local monument, get to know your neighbors. Goal number 12, buy linen fabric, water your plants on the cooler part of the day, use tea leaves instead of tea bags, buy non-toxic mattresses, buy terracotta flooring, keep a basket near to store reusable bags. Then we come to the climate action, that is goal number 30. SDG tip for people is wear a reusable mask, avoid using sunscreen when not exposed to sun, avoid eating chocolate spreads, plant air purifying plants around you, consume a plant-based diet. Then the SDG number 40, the tip is stop smoking cigarettes. SDG number 15, buy shade grown coffee, buy bamboo furniture, buy carpet made of natural fibers. SDG number 16, tip for the people, leave home on time to avoid road rage and violence, stand up for child abuse, raise your voice against domestic violence. Then goal number 17, the last goal, SDG tip for the people is volunteer for the cause you believe, create a community of like-minded catalyst of change. Very important. Then we come to the specific targets under SDGs for specific sectors. So there, the SDG goals, for the SDG goals, there are state level initiatives to comply with these goals. Like for example, if we take the SDG number 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So forest people, what forest sector is doing, they are doing the forest publicity, education, they are making the working plans for, they are doing research on afforestation and wastelands. They are making the or improving the agroforestry. They are emphasizing on green belt in the urban areas. They are rehabilitating the degraded forest. They are preventing the forest fires. They are making the national plan for conservation of aquatic ecosystem. So likewise, under each goal, each department is having the key strategies, or they are having the schemes which are being implemented to fulfill this goal or to achieve this goal. For SDG 15 also, which is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainably manage forest, combat desertification and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity. The initiative which they are doing is they have created the Oxy Forest Initiative. They have created the Panchvati Plantation Plan, which is including Pran Vayu Devta and Pran Vayu Devta Pension. Panchvati Plantation Plan is also very it is very relevant, and it is very it is linked with the tradition that 5 important plants which we used to see in the which are found in a temple from our old tradition, they will be planted. So likewise, there are many schemes under various targets of SDGs which the state government is planning to do. Likewise, in agriculture also, it is there. Irrigation department, it is having many schemes. Environment department, under SDG 8, 13, 15, 17, it is implementing the environmental training education. Then National Mission on Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem, Eco Club programs are running in the department. Then there is National Mission on Strategic Knowledge on Climate Change, they're implementing those. So to an end, we come to the way forward. So Haryana is working with both internal and external stakeholders to promote sustainable and inclusive economic growth and social development, along with the environmental protection, to deliver long-term benefits to all citizens, which includes women, children, youth, and future generation. It aims to upgrade to a modern digital state with information technology at the core for all sectors. So the principles which they are adopting is they are integrating planning, convergence, and decentralized implementation, focusing on equitable development, particularly to address the gender inequality and regional imbalance. Then there is a citizen-centric services promoting rule of law. There is a transparency. There is a ease of doing business to facilitate also easy access to all essential services. Then there another principle is green growth, both infrastructure and physical growth with regard for the environmental implications and natural resource depletion is implemented. So at the end, we can conclude by saying that achieving the SDG require the partnership of government, private sector, civil society, and citizen. And we need to make sure that we leave a better planet for future generation. And UN Development Agency, the UNDP is well placed. It is helping to implement the goals through their work in almost 170 countries and territories. And it is committed to ensure all the help to government of Haryana for finalizing also implementing the 2030 vision for Haryana. And it has took various steps to give the final shape to SDG Vision 2030 document. And that's it. With this note, I would like to conclude that the role of this coordination center is very relevant and crucial for us. And the help this UNDP is providing by their technical knowledge, their capacity, their resources, it is very helpful for the state. And the concluding remark can be we need to invest in partnership, which is very vital and which can create the long-term and valuable impact on society, and which will be helpful for also accomplishing the SDG targets. Thank you.